Hello and welcome to the British Dapper, and today we're talking about the market town look. And welcome back to the second part of a three-part series, and this time we're looking at the market town look. This is based on my experiences as a child of people that used to go back in the day into town on market day, and there was a particular look that you'd see in typically around most market towns. People would dress up to go into market on a particular day in the week, generally linked to livestock being sold, bought and sold, and so people put on a suit. Typically it would be something very similar to this, a wool suit or a tweed suit. They'd wear a tie, possibly a pocket square. Most of the time though, in truth, back in the day, they would have probably worn just a plain white handkerchief. And they'd wear a pair of brown brogue shoes. Rarely would they wear black shoes in the countryside, unless they were really going to some formal do. So, as you can see from this view, I'm wearing a tweed suit in a Prince of Wales pattern with a brown overcheck and very much sporting the country look. A green tie with a slight motif on it. Dark green pocket square, and a very plain off-white shirt. And obviously in the winter months we'd probably wear that with a barber jacket, and you'd probably see them wearing, for example in this case, a brown trilby hat. You've got to bear in mind that they will still be handling livestock even though they're dressed like this, so it wouldn't necessarily mean that they would be dressed up as if they were going into a town or into a city. They are still doing a manual job. But back in the day, this is a very typical look. You might change that look. For example, they might change the colour of the tie, and what I'm going to suggest is that whilst this is a traditional look, we could change this look to suit somebody that is going to wear something very similar but in the modern age. So I think maybe the green is a little bit dull, but we'll see at the end of the video what you think. So another colour that would be looked at would be a burgundy or a maroon tie. Normally it would be a wool mix. Rarely would you see people in the countryside wearing silk, because it's quite expensive back in the day. So here we've introduced a burgundy coloured tie, dark wine colour. It's a wool tie and an ambassador fold on this pocket square, which is just a handkerchief. Typically a square fold or something like that would be the sort of thing that you might see back in the day. So it's more of a historical look than anything else that I'm showing you. But another thing would be the introduction of yellow as a colour. So in this video we've introduced the colour yellow. Very similar pocket square, just to pick up the colour. Not my personal choice, but it's something that I would have witnessed back in the day quite commonly. This sort of very dark yellow, almost an orange colour, being employed with this type of suit in the countryside. Generally it would have a motif on it. I think that's probably because most of the ties back in the day had some horse or hound's theme or something along those lines, shooting scene. So it's not uncommon to see some sort of motif on the tie itself back in the day. Now you might say, well, what's this got to do with modern day suit wearing? Well, everything has its place and its time, but these things come around again. As I'd mentioned in previous videos, what was, fashionable in the past seems to be regenerated and regurgitated, if you like, in the modern form. So funny enough, these suits are becoming much more popular now again. They had a period of about 20 or 30 years where they were out of favour, and they seem to be creeping back in. So this type of look is becoming a little bit more apparent. With this, I would say generally for that sort of look in the marketplace, the very small village or town, generally it would be greens, browns, that sort of colour in the tie, maybe a burgundy. This sort of colour would have been not as common, but it has been seen in the past. My great uncle was a horse trainer and owner many years ago. Bless him, he's passed away now many years ago, but he had racing stables, about 28 race horses at a place called 6 Mile Bottom, just not far from Newmarket, and he had stables there, and you'd regularly see him wear something along these lines with his brown trilby hat, walking the race course and preparing for the races on a Saturday. Yeah, so it's not an uncommon look, although it's becoming rarer in this day and age. But like I said, it has got a little bit of a revival. So I'm going to just show you a couple more variations of tie. So here we have a lighter coloured green tie, and this is more typical of what you'd see back in the day, and it complements the colours in the suit a little bit better. So in this case there is no dimple, and to be fair, a dimple was something that you'd see more in the city than you would in the countryside. It's just one of those things that was created more for the city look. In this case, I'm not wearing a dimple. Here we have the employment of a brown tie with a slight motif on it and a navy coloured stripe as well. And this is quite typical of the look. So you can see browns and greens are quite commonly used with this type of look, along with some brown brogues and a brown trilby hat, and that's a very typical look for the countryside back in the day when people would go into town on market day. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe, then please feel free to do so. If you'd like to know when the next video is coming out, then hit the bell for notifications. We like constructive comments, so if you'd like to make some, then jot them down below and we'll get back to you as quickly as we can. So until next time, take care.